did I meet my girlfriend? Okay, y'all are asking the good questions. I'm gonna give you, I'll rewind it and give you the whole story time. I'm only gonna do this once, and I'm gonna make this entire thing one take. And if I look flustered, it's just because of the lights. It's not because I actually am. Okay, some parts get confusing, so just stick with me. But a couple years ago, I went to this queer girl event, and my cousin was the DJ at this event, and my cousin's fiance at the time, they're married now, but my girlfriend is my cousin's fiance's best friend. So when I saw her there, I was like, wait a second, I've seen her before, like we've met once. Now we're gonna rewind again 9 years from now. So when I was 21 years old, I went to a bar one night, and that's where I first met her with the same people, right? But we only partied together that one night. I really don't remember anything that happened then because everybody was just super turned, right? But anyways, we still recognized each other, and we were catching up. And after the event, we went to like somebody's house, and we just couldn't stop chatting. We're talking about all sorts of things. And this was when I was fresh off a breakup. So I broke up with my ex like 2 weeks prior, and she was currently like on and off again talking with somebody. So we're talking about relationships. That shit's super gay now that I think about it, right? Like talking about exes and whatever, and like what your type is, that sort of stuff. Oh gosh, I should have known it from the beginning. But anyways, I was being very respectful, even though she was super hot. I was, because I'm like, all right, she's talking to somebody, it's fine, it's cool. At the end of the night, I'm leaving, and then I hear like, Melissa, wait, let me get your Instagram, let me get your number. And I was like, I was actually very professional. I was like, oh yeah, like for sure, right? I think I only ended up giving her my Instagram. And so we have each other's IGs, and we would be just in the DMs messaging each other. And I can't lie, I would throw out some bait on my IG stories and be like, hoping that she would like respond to it, and she'd eat it up every single time, right? So we would just have these nonstop, continuous conversations, and sometimes these things would last for days. And then it got to the point that she said, I'm so bad at Instagram, like just text me. So she like sent her number in the DMs, and then we would just, the same thing would happen with text messages. Like we would kind of catch up with each other. It wasn't like every single day we were talking since that queer girl event, but whenever I wasn't, it was so weird because whenever I was out of like a situationship, or when I wasn't talking to a girl, her and I would kind of just like find our way back to each other, just like catching up. And it always happened naturally. It was never something that's like, oh, I'm done talking to this girl, I wonder what she's up to, right? It would just naturally happen. And it was so easy to talk to her. And there'd be conversations where she's like, oh, like we should Disneyland was like brought up in the topic, and there was like a potential Disney trip on the line of like, oh, like let's go to Disneyland, but there was a lot of things going on for me. And at the same time, I was again like a single woman, and it was tricky because if she wasn't associated with like my cousin's my cousin's fiance, then I think I would have been a lot more maybe persistent and been a way bigger flirt, right? But because of that relationship, I was like, I can't. I was kind of worried a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to go to this, and then like, what if I end up doing some fuck shit? You know what I mean? What if I end up being a fool, right? And so we would talk, but we never like met up since like those like as a couple years have gone by, right? And then my cousin is getting married to her future wife, and she's the maid of honor, right? So we were like, oh, we're gonna see each other again. And I was asked to be the MC at this wedding. So there's just like hella lesbians at this wedding. It was great, but before that, they had like a bridal shower. And the whole time, like towards like when this bridal shower was about to happen, I started flirting a little bit more. And like, cause she would reciprocate that. And I would always tell myself, I'm like, you know what? She shouldn't be the person that I'm doing this with. But then at the same time, I was like, I want to have fun. So I would throw out I would flirt a bit, right? And then she would flirt back, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. but I wouldn't eat it up the same way I would with like another girl. I still definitely had like that boundary that was placed, right? But anyways, fast forward, the bridal shower's coming up, and this is the first time that I'm gonna see her in like 2 years, 3 years, however long it was, right? And I would always see her like on IG, and she still looked super hot. But I remember seeing her at this bridal shower, and she looked stunning, of course. She looked even better than she did on Instagram. And I gave her like this hug, and she was super soft. Like her skin was so smooth and soft. And that's one of the first things I noticed about her. And she smelled really good. She was wearing Good Girl by Carolina Herrera. And y'all, if you're an OG from my fragrance days, then you know how down bad. It's like sickening how bad I am for that fragrance, okay? But I also decided to wear a fragrance, and I was a little bit nervous. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear I wore Lafayette Street by Bond 9. And because I was like, it's gonna be a picnic, it's gonna be something casual, but I want to guarantee that nobody else is wearing the same fragrance as me. So I roll up in that, and I try to catch up with her, but I notice, you know, she's maid of honor. She put this thing together, and she's a bit busy, and she was definitely more shy. And it was one of those things, I can't lie, I definitely was, I don't know if any of you guys get this way, but whenever she'd kind of be around the vicinity, when people would talk to me, I'd laugh a little bit louder. Maybe my voice would be a little bit louder. Not because I'm trying to get her attention or anything, but just like naturally, like I just project. And so we're at this event, and then we don't really get to talk. And I've been like wanting to talk to her, right? So like towards the end of the event, I finally get to talk to her, and she's like, Melissa, we haven't gotten to talk like all evening. And in my mind, I'm like, I think, you know, I could tell she was also a little bit shy. And my dumbass was like, oh, you know what? Let's go to pho. I invited everyone that I knew there to have pho, because I was like, it's late at night, and that would hit, and hopefully she'd come. And then like I invited everybody prior, and everyone's like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, like pho sounds like such a great idea. And then when I asked her, she's like, oh my gosh, I would, but I have to go to a birthday party, and it's like 2 hours away, right? And I was like, oh, like, no worries. Like, and I was already planning to like cover this pho dinner, you know? I'm like, oh yeah, like I got it, and I'm gonna talk to her, enjoy like the company with people. So like the one person that I really wanted to show up was like, I can't, oh my gosh. And I should say, while we're packing up for this, like to leave this bridal shower, we hugged a couple times. I sound like I'm in middle school, but listen, we hugged, and she'd be like, oh my God, you smell so good. Y'all, you know what that means, you know, right? And it's like the same sort of just like nose in the neck. I'm sorry. We're gonna fast forward. So the next day, she texts me, like, and I had a feeling too. I said, you know what? She's gonna text me unprovoked. And then she goes, you gotta tell me what fragrance you're wearing, because that was like so good, right? And I said, oh damn, this is it, right? So we literally kept talking, and like the wedding was in either, I think 2 weeks or something, right? And we were just talking nearly every single day. And it would like, sometimes there'd be phone calls, and it'd be like late night phone calls, but that's because like she works nights, right? And my ass was staying up for it, because I'm like, I don't know. I was like, oh, this is something a little interesting, and people didn't know that we were really talking to each other. But like the wedding rolls around, and I see her, because you know she's walking down the aisle. She's the maid of honor, and she looks fucking stunning, like gorgeous. And I'm staring like a motherfucker. I don't even care. I'm just like, and it's because you know you're watching the procession. But I knew I definitely made it known that I was looking. You know, everybody was looking at her. She was walking down the aisle, right? But that, again, the same thing happened at that wedding like it did in the bridal shower, where we didn't really get to talk throughout the entire wedding, because she was also busy with maid of honor duties, and I was also busy emceeing. And let me tell you guys, I winged that whole MC gig. I only looked like that morning at maybe the night before of what was happening, because I felt like I would get too nervous if I rehearsed anything. So I was fucking, yeah, but I did get super nervous. But anyways, it wasn't until like that night that after the reception, there was like an after party, that I finally really got to talk to her. And we were talking for a minute, like actually the whole night, I should say. Like we went on a walk, and then word kind of spread around to everybody. They're like, oh, Melissa and, you know, they're on a walk. They're outside on a walk. And bless my cousin's fiance wife now. But she was just so in the dark with what was going on. She's like, what the fuck? Like, when is this? When did this happen, right? But anyways, it was super. Again, I was kind of flirting, but she was flustered. So, and to me, I love that stuff. I love when, you know, girls are a little bit shy, a little bit flustered. But I wanted to. It would be cool if something happened that night, right? But it didn't, which was fine, because again, I'm respectful, and again, there was a ton of people there, so there's not really time for privacy to do anything like that. But at the same time, she was very much like, she wasn't someone that was like willing immediately like that. She was still a little bit guarded, and definitely, you know. Anyways, oh my god. I end up going home, and she tells me, she's like, actually, I gotta go to sleep, because it was like 6 in the morning, and people were still talking and stuff. But she's like, I gotta go to sleep. So I was like, oh, okay. Or this was around 5, right? So I give her a hug, and I'm there for like the next hour, and then I leave. Like the second I leave the front door, I get a text from her that's like, good night, drive safe. I was like, I thought your ass was asleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought, what do you, and then again, we were texting until I fell asleep, right? And then so she texts me the next day, or that morning, I should say, after I woke up, and she wanted to see me again that night. And here's the thing, right? Because I already went home. I didn't have, like, everything was in the laundry. I did not have pants to go out. It's like, fuck, like, I can't go out to this spot. And like, it's kind of like, it's not like you have to get dressed up, but I still wanted to look good, right? But everything I had was just a bit more casual, and it just did not fit the vibe at all. So I was stressing, bro. I was like, okay, if you're going somewhere after this event, if you're going somewhere after, or like after where you're at, then I'll meet you there. So she ends up saying her other best friend. She's like, yeah, come to her house. So I literally drive at like 1:20 in the morning, like an hour, like maybe 40 minutes to an hour or something like that. And then we end up hanging out there, and it's more like intimate group and whatnot. And we just really got to know each other. You know, that's how we met. I mean, that's kind of like the story of like that house. And then I asked her on a date after that, and that remains to be private. Why did I just spill all this to you guys? Damn, y'all are FBI.